It's a little bigger than routine.
I think it's been updated, yeah.
I think it's something, you know, it has to be done during really dry weather.
Yeah. That's the problem. Thank you. Appreciate you reminding me.
But
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Where are we at? Right here.
I'd like to call to order Barren County Fiscal Court. This is February 19th, 2019. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Jeff Bott.
Here.
Trent Riddle.
Here.
Carl Dickerson.
Here.
Tim Coomer.
Here.
Mark Bowman.
Here.
Kenneth Sarton.
Here.
Billy Houchins.
Here.
Michael Hill.
Here, thank you very much. In adoption of today's orders, I'd like to add for the Building and Property Committee the roof leakage for the Barren County Health Department. Also, we need a first reading on Ordinance 621 related to a Budget Amendment 4. I entertain a motion to adopt the
Motion.
Master Coomer. Second, Master Houchins. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Invocation will be given by Master Jeff Botts.
Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning. Thank you for the freedom of just being able to be here and to represent the county. I pray for our nation, pray for our leaders, our president. Thank you for our Frankfurt guests that are here today and leadership and what they do and help our counties. Thank you for all our magistrates. Thank you for our county judge, Michael. Pray for him and all the secretaries, the treasurers, and all the ones that in leadership of Barren County and all the counties in Kentucky and in the country. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you for sending your son Jesus to die on the cross for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to support today, our elected officials. I appreciate you being here. Secretary Dave Dickerson, thank you for being here. Secretary Greg Thomas and your team for being here today. Mayor Hatcher, thank you very much for being here today. Coroner Gibson, Sheriff Keene, Clark Birdwell, and Jailer Aaron Bennett. I think that's all of our elected officials. And media, thank you for being here, media. We will roll right into approving the minutes for January 15th, 2019. Entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Master Riddle.
Second.
Second, Master Coomer. Any corrections, deletions, or subtractions, additions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Announcements. Does anyone have any announcements in your prospective districts that you'd like to announce? Okay, thank you very much. Reports, we'll go right into the jail report, jail committee, and recommendations. I'll acknowledge Chairman Kenneth Sarton.
Well, the jail committee met last night at the jail for a lengthy meeting, and there's some problems we need to take care of. There's a limit on the number of personnel that the jail can employ. That limit is 27 employees. That's not enough. So I'm gonna make the motion that we raise that number to 33, which is a total of 6 more. I think the money's there. He needs the help, and we need to help him.
Okay,
So I'll make a motion that we raise the number to 33 on the jail employees.
okay, we have a motion.
I second.
Second, Master Dickerson. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Chairman?
There's one more thing at the jail. The vendor for the food service wasn't satisfactory, so they want to change food services. And after interviewing everybody involved, I think it's a good thing to do. So I'm going to make the motion that we allow the jailer to change food vendors.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, Master Riddle. Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, moving right along, departmental reports, Building and Property Committee, recommendation, Chairman Tim Coomer.
We have some safety issues in the stairwell over at the courthouse. The treads, the rubber tread and stuff is coming unglued, and it's causing trip hazards and a lot of different issues. We've had some quotes, and I make a motion that we get those replaced, which we will be reimbursed by the AOC, so it will not be any cost to the county.
We have a motion.
A second.
Second, Master Botts. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chairman?
Also, at the health department, we have some water issues in the basement. I'd like to be able to make a motion to authorize some quotes for dewatering systems. We've looked at some different types of system and trying to decide on the best way to address this problem. But I'd like to make a bid to authorize some quotes.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, Master Couchins. Questions, discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chairman?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Parks and Recreation, Chairman.
We have first item on our agenda. We met this morning is the park usage. What is brought on this discussion is that we've had several nonprofit organizations requesting to use the facilities at Jackie Browning Park for fundraising events. And what the committee has decided, or what our recommendation is, that there is a platform that Charles Kearney and the judge uses to recruit tournaments. And it's not in writing. It can vary a little bit. It is a little bit flexible, but it most certainly always allows the county to take care of the concessions and to receive all the funds from the concessions. So the recommendation from the Transportation Committee is that we're not going to vary from that platform, and we're going to ask Charles Kearney and our county attorney to get together and put down to put this platform in a writing so that we can have it, and that would be my motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second, Master Bowman. Questions, discussion?
Yes, Squire Riddle, I have a question concerning this. I know, and maybe I'm out of line here, but I thought that there was talk of maybe having concerts out there. Has there been any talk of that?
We've had one meeting.
One meeting? I was just wondering how that went, if that had been adopted, or is it something we're still talking about?
Still talking about.
Okay.
Nothing firm yet.
Okay, so it'll come back before the court.
It'll come back before the court, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Concerts doesn't have anything to do with this. It's basically usage of the fields to host baseball tournaments to raise money.
Yeah, I understand it says park usage, though.
Yeah, we got
okay.
Any more questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chairman?
Charles, you want to come up and talk about your signs? Charles is wanting to,
Be brief, Charles.
we're going to allow to do some advertising out there at the park with some signs on the fences, and let Charles talk a little bit about that.
In the past, years ago, when the park received no funds from, or the fiscal court received no funds for being out there, they approved lights to go up, and it was a promise made by the sports league then that they would help sell signs and get that. That never came through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fulfill that promise to the fiscal court. We are offering signs around the 4 fields. Those prices will range. It'll be $200 per sign. But if you get, since we have 4 fields, if a vendor wants to get 4 signs, we'll put up all 4 for $600. So we'll give them 1 for free. And that money will come back to the fiscal court, to the general fund.
So I make a motion that we allow Charles to,
We have a
to do
motion.
this.
Second.
I second.
Second by Master Sarton. Any questions, discussion? You know, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
We're gonna go
opposed?
ahead and go to D, Charles, while you're up there, the last one. Charles is needing, this is just a yearly thing, purchase order for his charter and his insurance.
This is basically what we've took on in the past couple of years. It's a Babe Ruth charter and insurance fee. It is at no cost to the county. It's covered by their sign-up fees that the public pays for their children to play. So it's at no cost to the fiscal court.
So make that motion that we move forward with it.
You have a motion.
Second.
Master Coomer, second. Questions, discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
The last item of business, which was actually the second item, is, if you remember, last month, the court, the Recreation Committee asked the court for permission to get quotes from local contractors to build us a maintenance barn to store our equipment and tools and field dryer and things of that nature that we don't need to be getting wet. So we did that. Charles, along with the help of Jonathan Burge, which done a great job, helped draw us up a building, and Charles went in search and he got quotes from 3 local contractors to build us a 34 by 40 pole barn structure. It's a pole barn. It has 2 overhead doors on it. Has a walk-through door. And the lowest quote, I'm not going to read all 3 of them, but the lowest quote come in at $19,500. And it's the recommendation of the Recreation Committee that we accept this quote for $19,500.
And that's your motion?
And that is my motion.
Have a motion, can I get a second?
I second.
Master Botts, questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Now, there was one other item on attached to this building. Since we got in the process of getting the quotes, Charles took the drawings to Jim Griffin, and he's told us that we have kind of over-designed the building a little bit structurally, and there's some ways that we can, by the post spacing and some other things, we can get back maybe a little credit by working with the contractor. And also there's some discussion this morning about adding another door for ventilation, or maybe some louvers or something like that. So I want to make a motion that that the court gives Charles Kearney the authority, in conjunction with the building inspector, local building inspector, to make these minor changes during construction of this building, as long as the cost doesn't exceed $19,500. That's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second by Master Houchins. Questions?
Something I meant to ask me, who was the contractor?
It's M&M Farm Supply.
M&M Farm Supply.
Any more questions, discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Anything else, Chairman?
That's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Road Department, the Transportation Committee met, Chairman Billy Houchins.
We met and, we opened bids for the two tractors and two bush hogs. But in the meantime, we've changed our mind and we're gonna, have the, mowing right away mowed by Chris Shives for 1 year. I'd like to make that as a motion.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, Master Dickerson. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Chairman?
Next on the agenda, got the amendment to the county subdivision regulations. Kevin's here if you need to ask any questions about that.
We'll go ahead and get a motion going then for discussion.
I'll make the motion on this one.
Okay, so we have a motion
Second.
and second. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Chairman?
Next, we got a recreation vehicle. We'd like to just transfer back to the road department. I need to make a motion on that.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Second by Master Sarton. Questions, discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Chairman?
We had a truck to repaired, truck number 10 broke down, and we owe a bill of $3,766.03 to Wayne Supply. And it's our recommendation that we pay this bill. I'll make that as a motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Master Riddle. Questions, discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Chairman?
We got some surplus equipment down there that we're gonna get together, and I think whatever he's got down there, we've got bush hogs, tractors, I-beams, guardrails, bed tops. So it's our recommendation that I make this a motion that we surplus these items and take sealed bids on it.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second by Master Coomer. Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Next on the agenda is private roadway signs and maintenance. And the county attorney's getting us a resolution drawn up on it for us. And it's our recommendation that we take care of the road signs, stop signs, and the name of the road.
That's your motion?
That's my motion,
We
yeah.
have a motion.
Second.
I didn't catch a second. Master
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sarton. Questions, discussion?
Yes, County Attorney Thomas, what, does this create any liability for Barren County by us putting private road signs and stop signs on private, or putting signs on private property? Do we have any liability there?
Well, that's the underlying issue of why this was discussed in the first place, was that it was a matter of public safety. If we have private roadways that are abutting county highways, intersecting with county highways, and stop signs have been removed or otherwise fallen down, that it could create some liability issues if we don't continue to maintain those.
And they were originally put up by the county, is that correct, or were they put up by the private landowners?
I'm sure that depends on which road you're talking about. I don't know the specifics of that,
Okay.
Magistrate.
Okay.
Master Dickerson, I think that something else was discussed. If you have a 911 call and your ambulance or fire truck goes
And I
past that
understand.
road,
I understand that.
it's not, the road name's not out there. I think that was something else that was talked about too. So. Any more but great question. Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
All right, Chairman.
Judge Hale and I attended a district transportation meeting this one in the past week, and there was no action taken there. The mayor of Glasgow was there, and the mayor of Cay City. No action taken. And I'd like to turn to Tim Coomer wants to. You got something he wants to talk about this resolution on gas tax.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this resolution. It's pretty much is what it's saying. The fuel tax hasn't increased in several years. We're looking, pretty much all it's saying is we're backing our legislators and wanting to promote this and wanting it to pass. I think transportation in Kentucky is very essential to the economy. And this, the way I understand it, these funds are going to be broke up the same way as they always are. Our share is still coming back to the county. It's something that I think is going to pass either way we vote, but I just wanted to show our legislators that we are behind them and support this. And I think it will benefit Barren County and the citizens of Barren County. So I make the motion that we adopt this resolution.
I second.
Master Botts, any questions, discussion?
The Kentucky Department of Transportation are here to talk about some of that here today. The needs that are going to, but we're not ready for that yet, but that's coming up, right?
That's under
That's
new
why they're
business. Yes, that's under new business,
Okay.
correct.
We couldn't hear from him earlier, I guess.
That's all I
I
have.
think you got two options here. You can table till you hear the secretary speak. You can suspend the rules to rearrange the agenda. It's the discretion of the court.
Just call the question, Judge. I think we need to vote.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes.
Judge, Economic Development met a couple of weeks ago, and we asked the administrative committee to double our commitment to economic development in Barren County. And after the budget, we will determine how that's to be spent. The fiscal court will. As of the present time, we contribute $60,000 to the Industrial Development Authority, but we have some committees meeting now to maybe change the structure. So we're asking for the extra funds from 60 to 120,000, and that will we'll approve that at a later date when we do the budget. And the other thing is the Regional Development Agency Assistance Program.
Master Dickerson, let's do that one at a time, okay?
Okay.
The increase, and we'll get is that your motion to increase that 100%?
Well, yes, Judge, but won't that happen when we do the budget, or we need to do it now?
Probably need to take some action on it now.
Okay.
The way it's record.
All right, well, I'll make that motion.
Okay. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Second, Master Bowman. Questions, discussion? All in favor, signify. I'm sorry, go ahead.
When we met and we talked about this, first of all, this is unbudgeted money. We don't have this money right now. I mean, this is unbudgeted money at this point in time. So, and when we talked about $120,000, the feel in the room was, and the consensus is that we're serious about economic development. But we're not saying we're going to spend $120,000. So the stars have got to line up right, and if they don't line up right, then we don't have to spend this $120,000. Is that correct, Mr. Dickerson?
Squire Riddle, the way I understood it, the court would have to take action at a later date according to how the Economic Development Economic Development Authority is restructured.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I understand.
And we've already spent the funds that we budgeted this year.
For this year?
Yeah, and we, no more.
No more. That's right.
Until new budget year.
Gotcha.
Which will be 120, which is what we've just adopted. So, and yes, the way I understand it, it's the court's approval of what we spend that money on.
That's correct, Judge. That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Are we gonna vote on, I make a motion that we appropriate 120,000, but
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
then we had Mr. Bryant come to our meeting and made a suggestion on how to increase bring agriculture industry into this county, and I appreciate him coming. And he spoke on that, and we won't take any action on that today. The other thing on the agenda today is the Regional Development Agency Assisted Program. I think it's a TVA program. And I will ask the judge if he would give us the two projects that we had talked about. One at the time, I don't think you could tell us what it was.
Okay.
Okay.
We're set to receive $50,000 for an economic development money through TVA. We can divide that up in two projects, and the two projects that I feel like that are really hot right now. And one, we've got to get the Cave City Industrial Park off the ground. I want to put $125,000 of that money towards the Cave City Industrial Park. The other I'd like to put to K&M. K&M is a company out of Franklin, Simpson County, and they have purchased the Dana building, and we would like to help them with the other 25 in the creation of jobs, and or whatever we need to do out there. So that's the two projects that I have picked out.
Okay. I'd like to move that we appropriate $25,000 if we receive the funding to Cave City Industrial Park and $25,000 to K&M, did you say?
K&M.
K&M. Make that in form of a motion.
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Mr. Riddle, any questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Chairman, we got that resolution.
Yes, sir.
That would,
Yes, sir. We need to adopt the resolution.
correct.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
I make a motion, we adopt the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Coomer. Questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you. Okay, old business, ordinance 619 related to budget amendment 3. Open this up for public hearing for comment. Any questions? I'll close the public meeting and adopt on second reading. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Mr. Riddle,
Second.
Mr. Bowman, questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. B, we've already discussed. So we'll move on into new business. I'd like to introduce Secretary Greg Thomas to address the court on infrastructure needs. Sir, happy you're here.
Well, thank you, Judge, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to you. If it's okay, I'll give some high-level remarks, and then we have a bunch of folks here from the cabinet to talk about what's going on in the county in terms of activity. But if that works for you, I'll just go into my remarks. From a transportation cabinet perspective, we are focused on the governor's vision and direction, which is jobs, jobs, jobs. I heard some comments about growing jobs and growing the economy. So we're focused on his vision and direction, and as far as transportation is concerned, it's about connecting people to jobs. And so to that end, we are focused on our shift process. Maybe some of you have heard, but it's our prioritization model that we've, I think, successfully used last year, focused on it this year as well. The good news about shift, and I'm proud to say our legislature, General Assembly, is working with us, but we were able to take a road plan that was 200% over programmed down to 8%. So now if you get a project in there, you've got a more reasonable chance of getting it actually built. So we're proud for that. And in addition to that, the General Assembly agreed with us that the focus should be on repair of our infrastructure, our bridges and roads. I'm sure you've heard about the Bridging Kentucky program. I think we've have at least six or more for Barren County in that program, with at least, I think, 1 or 2 lettings this year. But we have 1,000 deficient bridges across the Commonwealth that we're addressing over a 6-year period of time. We have approximately 400 to 450 that we're letting this year, so we're really proud of the progress we're making there. And we have over $1 billion backlog in payments that need to be addressed. Speaking of needs, we have a lot of needs in the Commonwealth. So for this road plan, we took kind of a ratio of what used to be about a third maintenance, asset management, 2/3 capital projects, the ribbon cutting projects, if you will, and we've moved that to about 50-50 now, and so I think that's a good ratio going forward. And along those lines, it gets us to the reason we're here. We've been making our way to fiscal courts and talking to folks about any critical needs that you would have as well. We realize that we have not only 27,000 miles of state-owned roadway to take care of, but there's 80,000 miles total out there with the municipals and the counties, and that all relates to jobs as well. And so what we're trying to do is, because we realize we're in a period of constrained funding, counties as well as the state. We have some tremendous needs, but we do have some opportunity for relatively small amounts of discretionary funding that we can partner with you on to see where critical needs exist. We're looking for any areas in the county where the road projects would lead directly to job growth or job retention, or just critical infrastructure repair that you have a need of. So those are we believe in spending the money in the right places, and who best to ask but local folks. So that's why we're here today, to just to listen and also to learn in terms of what it helps us when we're developing the next road plan to understand your needs and to factor that into the next road plan, as well as the shift process as well. So that's why we're here. Judge, thank you for your time. We have Andy Barber, our state highway engineer, is here, and he'll introduce Joe, and we'll move on. So thank you, and happy to address any questions after we're through as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary, Judge, Court. First, I want to say thank you for including us in the invocation. It's very humbling to hear you come up in prayer, so I do, that means a lot to me, so thank you all very much. State highway engineer, I've been there for a little over a year now. Been with the Transportation Cabinet since 2001. This is my first time to the Barren County Fiscal Court meeting, and one of the nice things about what we're doing here is getting to visit a whole lot of the state that I wouldn't otherwise. So, but I do think you all know Joe Plunk, our Chief District Engineer in District 3. We got Heath Crawford, the branch manager there for this section, as well as Blake Williams, our section supervisor. I saw you all come up talking to him, shaking hands, and that relationship between the district and the fiscal court and the county is very important too. So I want to make sure we're fostering that and doing a good job there. We talked about the Bridge of Kentucky, and this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I think as well as the rest of the counties too, some of the bridges that we wouldn't be touching otherwise, the bridges that they don't get the big ribbon cutting but need to be addressed because it's stifling economic development, or it's impacting school bus routes, getting these either rehabbed or replaced. And so just appreciate you all working with us on that as well too. I also want to mention too, we're here today, but I don't want that to be the last time we speak. You have outlets, Joe, of course. At any point, we also have Gray Tomlin, our Commissioner for Rural Municipal Aid, and Mark Welch, the field rep there. If you all haven't met them yet, you'll be hearing from them here soon too. So I guess we can open it up to any questions you guys have of us of specific projects or what's concerning you all.
Anyone in the court? Anything? I think what we struggle with the most, and we've been able to attack a lot of these problems, especially rural secondary, is we have a lot, and I can say in Magistrate Dickerson and Magistrate Riddle's districts of low water forwards. That we're kind of either reconstructing those or turning those into box culverts, because the biggest problem we have is water on the road itself, and no place to go. So taking a low water forward, putting a box culvert, I feel like it's safer It gets everything up out of the water. And I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of those come through.
Yeah.
As requests. But we're just tip of the iceberg. I mean, we have a bunch that has to, and I can tell you one big bridge in Master Dickerson's district that water flows over it 365 days a year.
It's not much of a bridge, is it?
It's not. It's not. And eventually it will affect our rural secondary road. But it's going to take a big undertaking. It's a big bridge. And Master Dickerson, if you want to comment on it.
Yes, Ritter's Mill, I suppose that's what you're
That's
speaking
correct.
of.
Ritter's Mill?
Yeah, Ritter's Mill. I think some engineers have been out and looked at it already. It's been a drive forward. I'm 64 and it's been a drive forward as long as I can remember. So and water runs over it every time it rains. And it go out there right now. I guarantee it's running over it. And it's a connector between two state highways, and there's quite a bit of traffic through there. Now, there's a lot of there's farms in there. So I think Mr. Plunk is aware of it. Y'all are aware of that bridge, are you not, yes. Mr. Plunk? Okay. And a question that I have is these connector roads that the county has. What is there possibilities of getting some of those completely rebuilt, like 2 or 3 mile connector roads?
Let's take a look and see what we're dealing with out there, and
Okay.
maybe some
Well,
opportunity to help.
last year we got some 80-20 money in Siloam Road for a drainage project, and we have yet to spend the money. But that road is a main connector between Kentucky 63 and Highway 90. A lot of traffic on it. I don't know if there's a count been done recently, but there's a lot of traffic on that road. Y'all are all familiar with it, I'm sure. And that's something we need to look at, because you can go out there right now, there's water standing. If you're in the right lane, there's water standing. And I don't know if the funding we have will be enough to drain it sufficiently. We've talked to some people about it way back early, but I just don't know if the funding we have will be enough to do the job. So, do you agree with that, Judge?
Yes. I mean, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem, and let's say it's dangerous. If you have water that's 6 inches deep on the side of the road in the blacktop, it's dangerous.
So you've got 80-20 for that, so you've been working with Gray's office on
Well,
that project.
we got some 80-20 money. We have yet to spend it because it's not enough going to be able to do the job. After we got into it, it's a bigger job than what we thought at the time.
Because you have a creek that runs along the side of it.
Yeah.
And when it comes out of its bank, that triples your water consumption.
What I was just gonna offer up is, there's different pots of money. There's 80-20, there's rural secondary, there's bridge program, there's their projects, they're ongoing. But perhaps that's one of the reasons we want to talk to you, is if we could get your kind of list of priorities, and we, as a cabinet, working with you and rural secondary, can come through and see where we can partner with you. But see if we can, I guess, work with you, Judge, to get the list of your top, I don't know, 4 or 5 projects or whatever. We got constrained funding, but we also look at the various pots of money to see where we can partner with you. So that's
Okay, thank you.
So you want us to, I mean, the judge is aware of most of the problems in the county, and I just want to throw my folks in the mix too. We've got several miles of roads in District 2 in the southern part around Capitol Hill that are virtually impassable by a regular 4-door sedan. You cannot drive grandma's car down these roads. They just won't go because they'll bottom out or drag off a muffler. And the problem that we have down there is we don't have any industry down there to support the theory. We don't have a high traffic count, but we do have a lot of farming down there, and farming is a big thing for our county. And over the time, as time has went on, the roads have not gotten any wider. They've become more and more decrepit. They've not gotten any wider, but the farm equipment has increased dramatically in size. So when you're going through Capitol Hill, there's no way for a bus and a tractor to pass without one of them getting off in the ditch. And so the size and the weight limits of the farm equipment, and it's not the farmer's fault. They're trying to make a living just like all the rest of us. But that that's an issue that has got to be addressed on these rural, county roads, the back roads, because you just can't travel. I talked with a bus driver the other night at a chili supper, and he says that he's tense on these roads from the time he turns off a state road going through Capitol Hill and back these roads. He's just white knuckle all the way because he never knows what's coming up over the next hill. So just want to make you aware of that.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions, comments? Like I say publicly, I want to thank your team because, Joe answers his phone every time you call. Blake answers his phone every time you call, and we've had a great response. And if it's where they can be here, they'll be here. So
I appreciate hearing that.
And once again, I told you earlier, Mark Welsh is just,
good.
I've already heard, he contacts me over the weekend by text. So
Sorry about
that. He's on it. I know he's got a lot of counties to cover, but he makes you feel like your county is the most important one.
Good.
So that's what I like about it.
Let me just say, the governor just announced 50,000 jobs at the last State of the Commonwealth address. And in my humble opinion, it's about doing what we're doing here today and keep growing our economy, keep growing our jobs, and that's the way out of our financial struggles here in Kentucky. So, but we're committed to that vision and direction. So thank you for the time here today.
Well, thank you, and you're always welcome to Barren County Fiscal Court and Barren County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Secretary of Labor, Secretary David Dickerson, to address the court.
Thank you, Judge. I'm sorry, I was on the I want to, y'all can be home folks, you can be some of the first to hear this straight from me. We had luncheon with Governor Bevan yesterday, and it is his desire and my wish and acceptance to go ahead and become permanently Secretary of Labor. He asked me to do that yesterday. So instead of acting secretary, I'm now really official. So I have a totally new job. Thank you all. That's what I've been texting back and forth among some of my staff and colleagues that are going to be moving. Secretary Gail Russell, who was deputy under public protection with me, is now the new secretary of PPC. You can reach her at the same switchboard number that I used to have. I'd give you the labor switchboard number, but I don't remember it. So we'll get that information to you, Judge, and to members of the court, and we'll proceed. I want to just be real quick about a couple of things. I want to share with you a conversation I had with Johnson Controls state government director for the country, Philip Lowry, who came to Frankfort with a colleague of his, Tim Baker, and shared with us an initiative that counties and the state can take advantage of. And I've already talked to Jailer Bennett about this at an informal meeting that he and I had that I think you all will be happy. Squire Sarton, you're the jail committee chairman, I believe, so you'll need to be read into this in more detail when it comes available. But Johnson Controls, for over 70 years, has done a training program for inmates to reduce the recidivism rate, which is a big problem in Kentucky and across the country. We have folks that come in, they serve their time, and then they get out in a few months or a couple of years later, they're right back in. County Attorney Thomas, you're probably aware of this more painfully than anybody. One of the things that we can do is to get Barren County teamed with Johnson Controls to provide training in HVAC, to provide training in electricity, to provide training in the carpentry trades and in other trades, so that your Class D felons, your state prisoners, primarily, will take advantage of this training, and they'll be able to have productive and fruitful jobs once they finish their time in jail or in prison, whether it be in the state or whether it be at the local level. You're overcrowded here, just as every jail, every facility in the Commonwealth is overcrowded. So we think this is a very real opportunity for local and state government to make a change in these people's lives. And I want to share one particular story with you, and there are so many of these that Johnson's had that have been successful. There's one prisoner who took advantage of this training program in HVAC. He got out, he got a job immediately, $60,000 a year, and made $32,000 overtime that first year. Made $92,000 in productive work. He's a model citizen now, doesn't have any intention of ever going back. And he talked about his overtime pay, and he said, I didn't do the overtime pay for the money. He said, I did the overtime pay to keep me away from the people that got me in there in the first place. So that's the key to this thing, and you have an opportunity. Secretary Tilley and I had a conversation, And we hope that we can, with the court's support and at the appropriate time, make Barren County a pilot project for county governments. We think we can do that. We'll have details, a lot of details to work out, but that's the big picture. If we can get this done with Johnson Controls, with the support of the court and the support of the jailer, you all have 56 HVAC units at the Barren County Jail. That's a lot for people to train on and learn how to repair and how to install. And once these folks finish this program in just a few months, they have a certificate that says they're qualified to do this work. And as I say, Johnson has had great success. They've done this for over 70 years. And that was the one thing today that I wanted to make a point to you as I brought that information to you, that it's an opportunity today. Once we've put flesh on the bones, then you'll see how this will work. And the results have been fabulous everywhere else. Governor asked me to extend to each one of you his regards. As I said, we were at lunch yesterday when he told me I was going to be the new labor guy from being the old labor guy, I guess. And so I'm very pleased with the permanence of the appointment, and I look forward to continue to serve the Commonwealth as Labor Secretary. And if there's anything that we can do with you all to help you with your safety program in county government, we'd be certainly make ourselves available to help you. Judge, I appreciate the time. If there's any questions, I'll yield to your questions.
Well, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to act on what he's talking about. Anytime we can increase our skill sets for anyone in our county, especially our inmates, I'd like to task this jail committee to move forward on this and work with Jailer Bennett, Secretary Dickerson here, to guide us in where we need to go. He knows where we're at, where we need to be, but I'd like to go ahead and task the jail committee to let's get on this, and let's don't drag our feet on it. Kenneth, Chairman Sarton, you okay with that?
Fine.
Okay.
Judge, if I may, Mr. Chairman, if I'll give you my email.
Okay.
And if you want to let me know, or let the clerk can let me know, or the judge can let me know, just when you all want to begin to pursue this, then I'll be in touch with the Johnson Controls people again. Maybe a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, but this is something that's a reality, and it's something that we really want to pursue. So hopefully we'll be able to help you out, and I'll give you the email address, and if you can let me know when you're all going to meet, then certainly that'd be great.
Have you got a few minutes after this meeting to talk to us?
Yeah, I'm at your all's disposal.
Okay.
That's why Secretary and I are here today. We're here to figure out how we in the Bevan administration can help you to succeed, because that's what, if you succeed, then we're being successful, and that's the way we look at business. No, certainly, I'm available. Thank you,
all right.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, approved payment of claims as presented. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Mr. Coomer,
Second.
Mr. Couchins, questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Approved budget adjustment.
Motion?
Okay. Have a motion, Master Botts.
Second.
Second, Master Couchins. Questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. I skipped D, so approved transfer of funds.
So move.
Master Riddle,
Second.
Master Coomer, questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Approved monthly financial statement, January 2019, subject to audit.
So move.
Master Couchins,
Second.
second, Master Bowman, questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Approved official settlements, January 2019, subject to audit, the county attorney, county clerk, and the sheriff.
So move.
Master Houchins,
Second.
second Master Bowman, questions, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Packets. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Master Riddle,
Second.
Master Houchins, questions, discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Yeah. The item that we added, the first reading of ordinance 621 related to budget amendment 4. This will be first reading. Entertain a motion, please.
But so moved, Judge.
Master Dickerson,
Second.
Master Coomer, questions, discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Before we go into, I'll announce it when we come out. Okay, we're gonna move into closed session, consider KRS 61.810, deliberations for the future acquisition of real estate property by a public agency when publicity would be likely to affect the value of specific property or property to be acquired for public use. Entertain a motion, please.
Judge, before we do that, can we go back to this resolution that we tabled a while ago?
I didn't table it.
Yeah, Master Dickerson called for question. We voted once he called for question.
Yeah, we voted.
And it passed.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay, entertain a motion for closed session.
Second.
Second.
I moved to go.
Motion, second, we're in closed session. Right back.
Hey, but it was very quick.
industrial park. And then I said something about they have to declare industrial authority to the city and investments, and then the industrial authority has to agree to the projects and stuff they do. And the industrial authority has to have a separate bank account for those funds.
The funds, I know they said that they would to them.
Yeah. Do you all know?
We've just been doing this.
We want to work with everybody. But it was very evident that maybe that DOT didn't understand it correctly. I mean, the bill's still there, they understand it, their purview, and that's what's really, so after that, they went through what they thought was the appropriate channels. They had a project, they're ready to. One DOT was kind of stunning. I think it was just because it was so late, but it finally came around. It took them about 3 months to figure it out. But now when I was talking a couple weeks ago, I was asking her, they're trying to streamline that process. But maybe just double check. I don't think y'all did anything procedurally wrong, but make sure that your industrial authority doesn't have to, here's the recommendation or make that. No, I just, how are you? I'm good, how are you? That's amazing. All right. I told the judge this, the other day on the phone, and Steve Carter's sister, which by the way, that was just, I'm telling you, that's like, that made me.
She got an autograph.
I saw her daughter, after that friend requested me on Facebook, and then she's tagged me and some stuff, and I saw that, that's so precious. So apparently, Barren County has been awarded CDBG project. The white slum with the Oak County jail. The commissioner officially announced it at the judges conference and asked Judge Hill to stand up. And I was actually standing by Judge Hill at the nursing home when she was announcing it. So I elbowed him and I was like, one of my friends said, hey, one of your counties just got a CDBG. So in our office, we still have not received anything official. I just thought I'd tell you that. I don't know that, yeah, but it's I think it's a 300,000 with 285 CDBG and 2,000 match. So keep that on your radar. I mean, hopefully that'll come down. So, but anyway, I was thinking, it's good to come to school and shoot on fire. I learned so much. But yeah, I was glad to be here today, and glad to see Secretary Dickerson too, and Secretary Thomas. And I want to carry that out the programs that you do. It sounds really neat, and maybe if there's a way to just circle that, it's kind of a community based.
But I will check on that.
Yeah, well, I was sure, I wasn't sure stand up and be like, that's wrong, because I wasn't 100% sure, but I did text a couple people, and if I get a chance, I may ask Amy Barnes. That, I may just make her that scenario and say, just for clarification, as hopefully the money will come in, everybody's doing the same thing, they're trying to figure out what to do. And I do know that, you all probably know this, but you can hold that money. Year to year, you don't have to see, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, some are doing it, and you can work with us, but you all probably really, I don't know exactly what your mission is, somebody in there across the street.
I'm sure that's the network together.
So like, they talked about, doing maybe a regional,
Sure.
but anyway, I'm a legislative geek, and I followed that deal really close, because I think it is a good.
Sure it is.
Thank you. And all the Bragg counties, in some capacity, get that TVA money, so.
Good to have you.
Well, I had to pick these like.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry.
Where's the county? Oh.
Yeah, it is, it's crap.
Longer than that in committee meetings, don't we?
Yeah. 3 hours. 3 hours. Then to make our mind up.
If we made it up, we had to change.
Yeah.
Okay, I entertain a motion to go back into open session.
So moved.
Second. Houchin, second Master Bowman. We're back in open session. What action of the board wants to take?
Second.
No, we gotta have the action.
What was your, I didn't hear your full.
What action do we wanna take?
Oh, okay. After our closed session meeting, I moved that pursuant to KRS 6780, that we purchased the real property adjacent to the Barren County Attorney's Office on West Main Street. That is my motion.
I second that motion.
We have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Houchins, second Master Coomer. Consider yourself adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
March 12th, 5 o'clock. Good job, General.
Well, I would like to.
Yes.
Good morning, Melinda.
About that jail.
But since then,
How much?
after I get the thing, the reason I did.